Welcome to Big Conversations by Ordinary People, Charles.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I see CG Consultants Engineer.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll start by introducing yourself so I don't go wrong with the person you are. Yeah.
My name is Charles Gava. I am the CEO and team leader at CG Engineering Consultancy,
All right.
and I'm a civil engineer.
Interesting. So, Charles, what we do usually with Big Conversations by Ordinary People is we bring people, Ugandans, we feel like are interesting to listen to and have very good ideas that people may not get anywhere else to listen to. So I have also taken a keen interest in you because I have seen that you are now standing for CEO for a league. I mean, it's being CEO of a startup.
Yeah.
But before we go to the league, I want us to talk about this engineering thing and and CG in particular. It's a young startup. It's coming up. How have you managed to get it all together?
Firstly, I don't know. CG is making 2 years.
Yes,
On
yes,
the
yes.
6th of June. I think we still qualify to make Olympian.
Yes.
And but the basic idea behind why CG Engineering Consults was formed was to create a platform for young professionals most especially in the engineering and construction industry, because we have to note that it's important for us to note that you know getting unpaid internship is already hard in this nation. Even most times you need, there are jokes on social media that most times you need the connection.
Yeah, you
But
definitely need.
it's absolutely hard. So now I can imagine what it is to get paid employment in the industry. So the basic idea was for us to start up something and to create opportunities for young people like myself or like you
Yeah.
to be able to thrive in the industry. What happens is when we have a project, we try to create a delicate balance between the vibrancy of the youth
Yes.
and probably try to sprinkle in some experience from people a bit older than us. So when we are on site, we are all learning, we are all participating, and at the end of the day, we are all earning some money.
Yes. That's very interesting. Speaking of the money, how is it possible? I've also I've run a few startups and businesses in different fields. I'm not a civil engineer. I have majored in other businesses, let's say Jewish and other things. I've also found challenges of capital, yeah, while starting up, and I've given up on some and decided to take on others. How have you managed and how are you managing? Because you see you're still growing. I see you have all systems all laid out. Your social media presence is very, very interesting. There's some seriousness there. How do you manage the capital? How does it? Although in our name in government, or Buganda or something.
See now, and then the government. Now, what happens is um, when we were starting up, the basic idea at first, I wanted to create a consultancy. But then, of course, when I looked into it, I noticed that maybe consultancy would, even if they give us money to start a consultancy, say if they give us 20 million shillings, when we did the mathematics, we realized that 20 million shillings wouldn't even take us, say, 3 months if we are really going to be vibrant. So we decided to start off with, say, an income generating project, and that's why we started a bit off with the manufacturing. So our entrance into social media was from that angle. The blogs, the papers. We have a yard in Kayungawa Kiso where we make hollow blocks, where we make solid blocks, where we make capstones, culverts, pavers, both double tier and rectangular. So that was meant to bring in some money. However, of course, that also creates a challenge, because how are you going to make it? You need a machine.
Yeah.
You need to pay people. You need to get land where you're going to do that. You need to pay for fuel. You need to pay for basic expenses. So I have to admit that construction financing is still hard, because we were lucky that Probably I have support from my parents. Probably I'm also a bit assertive and aggressive, so I was able to get financing from the Microfinance Support Center, Uganda,
Oh,
to
that
at
is
least
very interesting.
to at least get our first machine.
Yeah. How is it like to get support from microfinance? What is the process like?
Well, I don't know, as I
Like
said,
me, an ordinary guy. Like this is my
traditionally,
yeah.
an ordinary person, they try to help the youth, but you're supposed to present yourself as a legal entity. Meaning you should have a form of registration.
Your business should be attractive. Your
Business,
papers and all that
yes,
stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
Me, I was just lucky because I was in my third year when I started CG. So they just picked a lot of interest in a young man who's trying to start up something, and that's how I managed to, get through the paces of everything. But the normal process is you're supposed to be a legal entity, you're supposed to present proper papers, audited books of account, valid trading license. There are no more as a legal
Yes.
entity.
Oh,
Yes,
that is
that's what you're
very
supposed to
interesting.
have.
So this support from microfinance is what is holding part of what is holding CG together
It's not what is holding us, it's what helped us to kick
to
off.
kick off. Oh,
Yes,
that's
what helped us to kick off because it helped us get a machine and also have the setup costs like installation of the machine. But then from that point, it was now survival. How best do you use that machine to leverage other opportunities? So we had to make sure that we make quality products. We had to make sure we make good products that can attract markets and we had to make sure we do a lot of advertising, put ourselves out there that hey, this is what we do, and we can do this, we can do this. So we go, because we started in June 2019. We got the machine mid-August, but our first client came on the 9th of October of 2019. So you get there's that time
Independence.
period. Yes, on Independence, that was our first client. That's when we went for our first site visit as an entity. And then from then, I think we got another in December. So you notice is that then the next year in 2020, we had our machine had an issue. Then there was the pandemic and all that. But currently, of course, the machine helped us to put us somewhere because from then you can try to get jobs from elsewhere because you are an entity that is established that has a physical location that is doing manufacturing. So of course you're now more attractive. Yes.
One of the things I also know about startups right now, with my own experiences, you must have a full time job to support it fully. If I don't know your experience, but I've also heard you mentioned about a job in the pandemic, being able to really keep up. Is you need a job that is giving you some money so you can inject much more money into a lot of things. Because with startups, all you are fully doing CG and all your full time is in it.
My full time is I don't have any I don't have any
This
other.
is what you're doing.
Yeah, this is what we are doing because we've been doing work and most times you have to be there because at the end of the day, remember,
Yeah.
I'm also still learning.
Yes.
Yes, I'm also still learning. So every day when we are on site, when I'm with my colleagues,
Yeah.
I'm still learning from them. So I am not when you're on site. If you go to site, you'll notice that I am not the boss.
You're not the CEO.
I am not the CEO.
As
I
we
am
move in,
learning.
yes, I also
I am learning.
feel like you are still very young to be CEO, and this is not because you own the company. I feel like the title CEO comes with so much demand and so much expectations from one the world, and as you see the brand, I feel when you present yourself as CEO, it gives people a whole different idea in their head that oh man, this man's coming in, probably you're supposed to be in suits and stuff like that. So how are you managing as a very young CEO?
But what I actually have to say is,
Yeah.
these titles,
Yeah.
CEO, COO,
Yeah.
CFO, in my experience, the title just carries responsibility. It's like having shares in a company. Having shares in a company doesn't mean that you probably sorry. It just means that of the 100% responsibility in this company,
You have the
50%, you have 20%. So that means that your effort
Yeah.
has to be that 20%. You have to make sure. So that's what I believe that. See, and of course, still CEOs have varying styles. And there are those who prefer to put on the suits.
Yeah, I know,
And
definitely.
those like me who prefer to be in the tees and the jeans. But I believe that
You're the rich ones, the ones in the tees.
No. It's just about what you do.
Max.
No, it's just about what you do. Really. Because I mean, if I were a CEO of say an investor of a hedge fund, of course I would have to. But now after this, I'm going to site. So where am I investing? But the basic idea is, I believe the title carries responsibility. If in an entity I carry that much responsibility, then I think the title is befitting to me, despite the age.
What is that one project CG has worked on and has transformed it to complex? One on your website, it is you, how do they call it? Theme, motto, transforming complex. How's it? I forget it. Let me just.
Yeah, we can just.
Let me just relook at it again. So, bringing complex projects to life. So, which one of those projects have you so far in your 2 years of experience have you worked on and you brought to life that is very
I
complex?
actually believe that every project is very different.
Yeah.
For example, it can be simple. Someone can be like, "Oh, there's this job. It's just our clients are. It's just they're simply putting papers. You get, but then when you reach the site, you have to figure out things like drainage.
Yeah.
You have to figure out things like probably you need some better landscaping. You get. So in our experience, we believe that every project is actually complex, and we have to give it that much attention to turn it to life. Because normally we are transforming an empty space into something. You're transforming a place that is bushy into something. You're transforming a place that is, looking in a certain way into something. However, we've worked on a few projects. We've done renovation of staff houses for but that was under subcontract.
Yeah.
For Busoga Forestry Company. We did installation of hand washing units during COVID time in around Kampala, the 5 divisions, under engineers around borders. And currently we are doing where we have a subcontract running for civil works at the new data treatment plant that we see.
No, that is very, very interesting.
So, and that is aside from our private clients. These are just companies.
So, with these projects, one of those things that I know that is very hard with engineering is the procurement process of getting this. Where the big money is the roads that are happening, the construction and all that. How do you suppose to penetrate that process, the procurement process? Do you plan on because the guys that actually get them, we've hosted one very good engineer, an OB of mine, Richard said he's grown up. He's also worked with Qualis, Uganda, one of the very first guys to do the roads. But he has talked of such challenges getting these projects in and what we've seen government give projects to dot services and they've failed over and over and again. But these are the same people that still get these huge projects. Besides the people that come from the Western world and the Chinese and all that stuff, who are favored the most. I don't know what, as an engineer, if that is actually true. If these Western people are favored, people from non-Uganda are favored more with the procurement process, or it's just the startups here and the companies here are just not in position to handle this project.
The question is wide, but let me try to answer bits and bits of it. The first thing is it's quite hard for a startup to get work.
Yeah.
I have to admit that. I can't say. When you get work, you feel lucky, and of course you try to exact your entire thing with your work. You try to be so passionate about it. Of course, and now again, the procurement process doesn't favor startups as much because, for example, if you're to get any pre-qualification document, if you're to get any bidding document, you'll notice that probably they will require, as a simple, probably they'll say we need 3 years of audited books of accounts. As a startup, you don't have 3 years of audited books of accounts. Probably you have one, or you're in your second year, and now that's when you're supposed to make a second book of accounts. So the process, and then of course I know there are things like the local content bill, but
What is
we
the
don't.
local content bill?
It's supposed to reserve the projects that are below 45 billion for local companies, and it's also supposed to encourage almost every project, at least the ones that are maybe say by Chinese companies um, or maybe say Sojea or Mota Indian. At least they're supposed to have a number of local companies on board. That's just a challenge for a startup. So as a startup, what we can do right now is to try and create networks and probably try to leverage those networks. That's why you've seen most of the work we are doing, we are coming in as subcontractors because right now we have to be realistic to ourselves. There are certain things we can handle, and there are certain things for which the capacity isn't yet there. And now that brings me to your other question about why the say the Europeans or the Chinese keep on winning most of these contracts. The first thing is as a company and as a person, it's very good to be true to yourself. Like I wouldn't want you to give me work and it starts being such a challenge to me because every company there's a certain threshold of work that you can handle. Of course, we all want a big contract, but it's good to be true to yourself. So, and with my experience working, say, with a bigger company like Sojea, I get to notice that probably we are good at some things.
So let me just cut you. Before you started CJ, you worked with other bigger guys.
No. I started CG in as a campus. So I just immediately I finished campus. I just now started doing the. So now what I'm saying is, as CG engineering consultants, what we've learned, say working under
subcontracting.
We notice that they have the capacity to do some of this work, which I don't know if there are some independent companies that have the capacity. And in some places they have the technical know-how of doing some of these complex projects. As Ugandan companies, what we can do from now is to try and learn, try and emulate, try and get to see how they organize, how they set up, how they get money, how they do all those things. I think that's the best that we can do now. And of course, to try and work with them and learn so much from them. But of course, I believe that as CG consultants, our aim and vision is to become the biggest and to become the most respectable. So I believe that we have to do all these steps, but we shall get there because we are getting experience from.
Is there like a time frame you have in mind that in 5 years I should have a big contract? Because this is what actually I don't know. I don't know if CJ in position to put up apartments like Brotherhood right now, or this is still too big.
We are.
All right.
For Bellwether, yes, we can.
Yeah. So how do you come into procurement processes for people like this?
I think for people like Bellwether, this should be a private.
Yeah, this is private. This is
so most times for the private investors, unless maybe
you're connected.
It has to be.
But can a private investor in this country? Because I see a lot of apartments. Just Chanja alone is full of apartments coming out. Everywhere you look, this can still do these private investors? Do they have the will to trust a young startup like yours?
No, that's where the challenge is. Yeah. As a young startup, you face quite a number of challenges. You face, of course, the challenge of access to finance.
Exactly.
It's a big challenge because the construction industry is very capital intensive.
That's right.
Because even say if you're working with Sojea, they'll give you a contract, and then probably if you're lucky, they can give you say 30% to start as an advance. But then when they give you the 30%, they don't expect you to just do 30% of the work. When they give you 30%, it's just an advance. So they want you to push. So if they give you 30%, at least you should push to 50%. Then probably there you can submit like an interim payment certificate or something like that. So the expectation is you should have money.
How have you positioned yourself?
And that is hard. Then the second one is the reputation and the aspect of goodwill. Because it's easy for Rocco to match into here and just the investor here that I can put up your apartments. But then it would be a harder hill for me to climb, for me to tell this person that look here, also do this work like Rocco can do. Because Rocco has been here since 1975 and we've been here since 2010. So it's you notice the difference. However,
okay, all right.
However,
please finish.
yes. However, I want to urge all private investors
Yes.
who want to put up these things. We position ourselves as an engineering and manufacturing company.
What shows that you have positioned yourself as young engineers? Because there's so much that comes with this money. You are very young, out of campus. You probably have a few girlfriends in your case, a lifestyle you have to live. There's a Snapchat life. There's all this stuff. Because the discipline also comes, in my opinion, it sometimes comes with age, with failing, and knowing that now. Have you positioned yourself to know that if I get a 50% from my guy, a bellwether guy who's willing to put up other apartments there,
I can't run away with the money.
not just running away, you will use the money to that and put it up to its expectations.
But normally, what we do, now, for example, if we are putting up bellwether now, we can't just be talking.
Yeah.
And hey, we are going to build this thing. Yeah, let's do. Normally, we have to be under contractual obligation.
Yeah.
So if a client comes and gives me the client to do it, yeah, I want to put up apartments, I want them to have this, I want them to have this. Then I revert with my terms of reference to address most of the client group. Is this microphone I am saying. I am going to provide technical services to this. Maybe I'm going to provide construction services for this. I'm going to provide supervisory, breaking down everything. So, such that the client knows me, those are my terms of reference. I see our terms of reference. So we debate about the terms of reference. Once we agree about the TORs, then we have to kind of get into a contractual obligation. So and CG is an entity that we are building. We wouldn't want to be in a situation where we are running away from clients.
Right,
We wouldn't want to be. So if we are under contract, clearly that's an undertaking we have to do. So we can't run away with money. Plus, we would also be proud to put up something and we refer people to bellwether and we refer people to that's what we did. You're moving somewhere and you're like,
this is your vision. You really don't want to give. The one thing I know about when I look at CJ on social media, I'm like, oh my god, this guy's should be. I was going through everything. I was going through the time when I think the pages have just come up. I don't know if it's Marcus, but the schools also have the influence. Yes, I could see all my friends. I have a lot of Marcus friends. I could see all my friends come up with this sharing all this content, and they were all full supportive. Yeah, how this also speaks to your character as a person, because people will support people they like. That is good.
I'm likable.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. That's a very cool thing.
I just think I'm likable.
The thing with social media is these trends die, and did you get return on investment? Let's say you're paying influencers in that time to push. How is your experience? How are sales online? Factoring the fact that there's been a pandemic, maybe it's you starting up. How has the digital media helped your startup position itself? Because I know for a fact that there's an exaggeration social media gives. Even to the owners, I'll tell you this from personal experience. I ran a juice brand on social media in around 2015. I used to also run a league alongside it, was called Microfinance Support Center. It was huge. Pepsi used to call me for meetings because they wanted to partner with the juice and stuff. But I was actually very informal. No registered, no one. Just I started up, had friends that could push up, called up people. And I was going. The sales were not exactly what people thought it were. The company's projection on social media was not really what it was. It was too small, but then very exaggerated. And the pressure alone was one of the reasons we cut it out. We could not push any further. Of course, things happened in that time. Just any other things, business failed. They say, but in my experience, I feel like if you're not very, 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 I don't even know how to term it, but if you don't, what's a severe bill in this case? You could crash because of how the company is projected on social media. This is why some people they actually don't now, like the engineering bit. I don't know how it is, like how the digital impact to your brand.
I think the pandemic should have shown us the importance of social media to any brand, whether it's engineering or, because I've seen law firms that are not meant to advertise.
Oh yeah,
They are
that's
not
right.
meant
That's right.
to
I've also had
advertise.
lawyers that
They are not meant to
yes.
advertise, but they're getting a smart way of maintaining a digital presence. Now, what happens is we we manufacture. So that means we have products that we have to sell. But say, how am I going to reach you? I mean, this is not the 21st century, and this is not the 19th century where we all used to live in a small village and bang a drum and there's a village. So I want to reach every part, every corner of Uganda. I want to reach everyone. I want to put these products that we make into your face. And as a result, we created an online platform. Our website.
Do you sell on your website?
Yes.
All right.
Our website has an orders bit. It has an orders part where you can actually make an order for our products. Because we did in cement, we did in the precast concrete products. So you can and that is where there was need for us to go online and have such a big presence. What I have to thank, I just want to thank, say, my friends, my colleagues.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned influencers, but we didn't really have influencers.
This was all love.
It was just love from people and the idea.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that kept sharing this stuff because my friends were sharing stuff, and it's a startup I was very interested in.
Yes. So that's what happened. And then also the projection, as CG, we just share what we are doing.
Yeah.
Share what
selling online in Uganda is a trick.
That's what I was coming to.
Okay, it's a trick because I was going to ask you, are you selling on Jumia as well? Because that's where the numbers is. These guys are doing. Tell you what, whether you want to believe it or not, their marketing budget is too high. I have personally worked for them. I've been through this process from when they started into the country. I know for a fact they're spending millions of money into advertising. Yeah, any retail seller in the country, it's in your best, in my opinion, it's in your best interest to approach them, and you're selling unique products from what they really sell. But if you don't really have their budget, in my opinion, you're wasting time online. Yes, the little orders, the brand appearance could come in, but when it comes to numbers, everyone is in better position until, of course, the Amazons come down and whatnot. But before then, right now, the biggest ad spender online is Jumia. So any person doing any retail business is in best position to do a deal with them and sell with them. People would come up. Sometimes I am on my Twitter feed and I read all these comments of the small stuff, but that's a really small percentage to what they're doing to expanding to any retailers, to mass markets. Yeah, their budgets are high. Why don't you look? Because this will be a big boost to a startup if you have bigger numbers. If you have guys doing papers or doing deals. I don't know, because you say finance is a challenge, so you definitely have issues with marketing. Yeah, the money to let's say beat the HEMAs when they're pushing out the cement and also selling cement will be high. But if you created a shop on a guy who is spending 25 million on a month campaign, because they have all these campaigns, and by the way, if you did a deal with them no one is doing engineering on Jumia. Currently, I don't see people selling cement, people selling pavers and the blocks. So if you partnered with these big people, you'd have a very big chance of shooting the top faster than any other person, because of course the sales are going to come in and they're trusted. They've been here 8 years in the game. Of course, their reputation is exactly.
Well, all these are conversations that we've had in the past.
All right.
But for us, we have a goal and an aim. We're still young. We're at the point Jumia was 6 years ago.
No, not really. You see, Jumia also came in with the money.
Yes. Yeah. Jumia came with the money.
It could hire people. They were paying us 1.5 million.
Yeah.
I didn't even have a PPE. Yeah, but they were giving me that much money. So you can tell how frustrating that is to the market, the employment market, to everyone starting up. But it's not a bad thing to join them. You still have CJ selling with them because they have the budget, and this is my issue. They have a big budget.
We intend to do that.
Yeah.
We intend to do that. We intend to do that. That's really in our plan. However, we also intend to push our own platform.
Yeah.
We like doing, when you
Owning
have
it.
we like owning what we do. So when you have your own platform, you're more flexible.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree with that.
But of course, the plans I've had discussions because one of my cousins, she sells TVs.
Yeah.
Okay, like
Specifically in her own, yeah.
yes, they sell they are like the Kericho Gold of Uganda,
Okay.
something like that. So that means they sell in the supermarkets, and because we were having this discussion the other day about the whole Jumia thing, and of course we are taking it into consideration, but depending on our.
By the way, my issue here is entirely on the money, yeah, because it's very hard for anyone selling online to beat these guys, yeah. And what they're doing as well is it's frustrate the market because amidst whatever they're doing, they have all these campaigns that go on, yeah, and they would buy out sellers, they would buy out an iPhone seller in Chicago, so he's only selling on their platform. So as this is a venture that is very new, because I'm looking at building my first house probably next year, and I would probably have to use someone I know. I want to support my sister is also a civil engineer, but I would want to work with people like you. You know? I feel like if you have put your position in the market to work with these people, unlike Cafe Javas in the food business, they had Jumia on before they created their own platform of delivering them on.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's no.
And they still have the Jumia on because you know why? Because the money is there. These guys are injecting into market. They are reaching lots of people.
But then have you asked yourself why Guana Mandela opted to start?
Because he wants to really own it. But as he's starting it, this is because you've not yet joined Jumia, and this is where I'm bringing up the conversation. As now for you, again, Mandela has also come into the game. Big money.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't want us to base on a man like him. I'm looking at sales. I'm telling you this for a fact because I used to sell juice on Jumia, and at some point I was the highest seller there, the highest seller per day they had. But this is when they had just started up. If other issues, factors, cost, the things had stayed well, I feel like that was the best platform to sell on because one, they're doing all the advertising, they're doing so much. Every other people on the phone, your clients are looking for that, and you do not have the budget that yet because, of course, startups are hard. You don't have the financing, the capital, and whatnot. So if you join people who have all this money to throw away, if you join them faster, as you're growing, of course, your online shop stays. And I'm not making an ad for these people or stuff, but I feel like startups should get into this money because Jumia is ideally meant for the African market, even if they don't really live to that. There are issues and stuff, but any African online seller, any Ugandan actually in this case, I tell them to get on that budget before it goes away because they could close in the country any bit. They could snap and go away. They could fail to break even. Amazon could fail to come through or whatever, and they go away. So, but how do you benefit from them is they are able to sell or to put your brand. And engineering is not yet something they have gone into, but they need people with visions like yours that have put structures and are starting up to approach them and give them things like this so they can actually go into the whole engineering. To me, that is my opinion. Selling online, you need to partner with the big guys right now to beat it because even if you're to put in your Facebook ads, I feel like that is too little. Return on investment becomes so hard. And when it comes to engineering, because now your circles, I don't know how you, in your opinion, how many people are building houses from CGO, stuff like that in your circles, but then Jumia opens you up to everyone, to the guys who are building. They know that to who this guy is doing this guy is doing this. That is my opinion.
What we actually thought,
Yeah.
you know how Jumia, I'm not throwing any shade.
Yeah.
But they're selling so many things.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was our logic. They are selling so many things. They are selling TVs, they are selling juice, they are selling soda. It becomes a bit hard. We want our clients
to know that
focus,
to
focus on what we are doing.
Yes.
And there is more that we are doing. We are coming up with another platform that is sort of an app that is going to be a game changer. But I don't want to
go into that.
I don't want to go into that. I don't want
ready.
I don't want to go into that
Jinx.
before it's ready. I don't want to be jinx it.
All right.
So I will leave it at that. But probably in the near future, probably around the time when we're celebrating 2 years, if everything goes well, then we should be able to see some of it in the market. But we just wanted our clients to, of course, we've had these talks several times, but for now we had decided to first build ourselves as a brand, and then probably after that we can easily maybe say approach Jumia as a brand that already has an online presence, that already has its own marketing platform, and in a bit we decided to expand our market. But for now, for the kind of investment that we are putting in, we just have like some specific targets. If we achieve the targets, then that's good. So then we get to restructure and try to improve and try to improve. So what the key point is, it's hard as a startup in this current economy and current climate and environment to sell yourself to someone unless
no, you're not selling yourself.
No, unless
you're using them.
Unless someone sees you as an item of value. So it's now, for example, we are taking Jumia away from its niche. You get, so you have to present yourself.
No. Actually, let me tell you for a fact. As African Internet Group, the ones that introduced Jumia, brought this for any African retailer to. It is entirely supposed to you bring your plan. You're selling something your way, your method. You present it to them. That is the idea. It's just that a lot of retailers here don't have the time. They're doing good business in Chicago, so they never do this. But in my opinion, if you did it, you have because you're not Monte, you're not all these other big guys, yeah? You're not all those guys, but you have, because you have all the structures set up, you have everything good, you're in a better position to actually get a good deal with them. And they could run a campaign just on engineering, probably say, get a November, I don't know in my opinion, when people build the house, are building the most, but currently people are building every day when I look. So you could just, there's always a way you could find
that it could be done in due course, but you see, even Hima also has its own online. They have their own online platform,
but they're selling on Jumia.
And they recently joined.
They had to,
because I deal a bit with Hima, but then they also had to get to like somewhere with their platform, and then they joined Jumia. So it's what we also want. We want to build ours, and then later we will join Jumia. Because we will be doing ourselves a disservice. We want, probably then we can create choice and maybe flexibility for our clients to be able to say, maybe if I can't order from the CG side, I can order from Jumia. That's something we plan. But right now, we also want to first build our own. Yes, we want
and
first
I appreciate that. That's very nice.
We want first build.
In one of your objectives, it is you claim to be very organized and planning. So if I want to build my house, and I have money, good money, I can put it on the table.
I like clients with money.
Yeah. if I want to build my house, yes, and I have this good money I want to put on the table, how do you then reach my goals? Because how do you help me achieve something good? I'll tell you for a fact, my apartment inside. Yeah. One of the reasons I stay at Brotherhood is because I liked everything about the organization, the neatness, yeah. And it was never in my mind. I've seen my brother put up a house and I don't like it. My uncles put up houses and I don't like them. My father's house, I don't like it. Like, no, when I get to that point, I need something better. But then I'm also not into the fancy. I need someone to really give me an idea. So how do you guys bring this to life?
You know, what has been happening in the construction industry, and something that we want to change, is the fact that probably the professionals haven't been allowing the clients to have choice. Like someone does something.
Because there's a lot of similar stuff. Kitchens are the same.
Someone does something, like say presents plans to you, presents drawings to you, and they want you to take it as a gospel truth, and then they're not flexible and all that. But what we want to create, and what we do normally, is we work a lot with you, the client, because at the end of the day, this is your house, this is your dream. What we have to do is just to create your dream, to make sure that we bring your dream into reality. So our process involves a lot, most especially at the design stage. You work a lot with
The client.
you work a lot with the client. There's a lot of iteration, there's a lot of back and forth. Like we want to make sure you're comfortable with what we are going to do. And even during the process when we are doing the construction, we want to work a lot with you. We want you to be present. We don't want you to, we want you to participate in making the choices. If it's paint, you participate in making the choice. You get so that you're part of the process, and so that you make sure that whatever is in your head, you put it on paper and then finally put it on paper.
Now, you, Charles, as an engineer, did you grow up with this dream? Because you, right out of campus, you started your own thing, and it's, in my opinion, still good. Did you have this dream, or was it the parents influencing it? Yeah, well, man, we have been to these schools, and for a fact, I know that a big percentage of how my peers came out. I know that my friends in Go, the ones I was, all had to do things because no one had to become a doctor. My dad wants doctors, family and doctors and stuff like that. So for you, how was it like?
Funny how my dad is actually a doctor. He's an orthopedic surgeon. Very, very talented guy. But what I liked about my parents is they would let you choose. They always let you choose. So the mere fact that he's not a doctor doesn't mean that. I mean, the mere fact that he is a doctor doesn't mean that I'm going to be a doctor. Because I don't think I ever liked being a doctor.
Did you ever like building people's houses?
Yeah, that I liked, and
at what point in life did you really be like, no, I want to be the guy who decides how people should see
it was actually
master bedroom?
It was actually from a young age, because recently I was home and my mom showed me like something I'd written down in terms of something. We were talking about a house and I was just writing down some things and sketching a few things. You know, when I was still a little young, she was like, because she was just like, man. Because she was going through like those old things that you have stored away for some time, and she landed on it. So when I happened to pass by home, she showed it to me. But what I was saying is that I'm just lucky that my parents, they don't, because my dad is a doctor, but I'm a civil engineer. My sister is in fourth year, also civil engineering. Now it's my brother who is trying to follow into the path of being a doctor, but my kid sister, my last sibling, is not even going to do anything science related. Probably she's going to do the arts. So they let you choose, because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense for them to impose something on you, because you won't end up.
At some point, it's actually not really imposing. Yeah. Parents look at it as lineage. We are all ranting for generational. They look at it as if because life is hard, man. If foundations matter, I know for a fact that the average Musuzi, Muganda man who is in Chicago, influences so much their son to take over the shops because they know that they are prepared enough, the line, the money, the chains, and the systems and the structures for their children not to gamble around. Yeah, because we all gamble with money, and even if you're doing stuff right, it's like, but when you have all this mentorship and guidance and you've seen, it usually works out very well. And ideally, every parent wants their child to be good with life. So it is, in my opinion, it never comes to opposing. It is just like they see the future and like, you know what? If you come, by the time you grow up to become an orthopedic doctor, I would have my own hospital, and you will take it over.
Yeah, actually, when I was growing up, being the eldest child.
Oh, you're the firstborn.
Of my mother.
All right.
And there was a lot of grooming that was done, most especially in terms of leadership from home.
Yeah.
Because growing up, we had some farms, so there was quite a number of people that were being employed by my parents. So I would just have to show that leadership, because it doesn't mean that when you have a hospital and I'm an engineer, I can't run the hospital.
Yeah, I feel it.
It doesn't, and that's the logic. The key point is imparting the important values of leadership and responsibility to someone and management. That's all they need. Because for a fact, my parents have they own the school of nursing and midwifery, but it doesn't mean that I won't be able to run it because I am not a nurse, because I'm not a midwife. I have the basic knowledge. I have knowledge on running an entity. I am running my own entity. Mine is even harder than theirs. Mine is a startup that has been around for some time. So, and it's easy. I'm involved in all the decision making processes in as much as I'm not a nurse, I'm not a midwife. So at any point, if there is need for me to take charge, I am in the best position and best fit to do so.
Yeah, I see. I see you have your early youth set out. The plan looks interesting. The line, I know it doesn't have to be straight, but at least there's a vision, and that is very important. Usually, what happens to us is not having the plan and the vision of where things should go. But also, money is very important. Once you don't have the money, the vision and the plan, and you're not seeing it, it becomes very hard.
That's
Okay, I think that is. I don't know if you have something about engineering you feel like you need to adjust. But to me, that is. I want us to move on to the Smart League.
Oh yeah, the league.
What are your plans? Why are you standing for CEO? Also, why is there a CEO for the Smart League to begin with? This is because I've run a league.
Yeah.
I don't know. It had 11 teams. People had fun. I ran it 2 seasons. Then, of course, not having structures actually. Very, very good structures. But also the financing was not enough. I don't know how Smart League is doing it. The financing, most of the money was from my personal pockets. So I ran out my girlfriend got pregnant in the time of the league. I had to take care of children and hospital stuff, things like that. So everything just kept deteriorating until I gave up. Maybe someday I will revive it. I'm really considering it. I'm talking to a few friends here and there, and I have gone to partner with a lot of brands right now. So I feel like when ready, I'm taking example from people like you. This is why I have you, so I know that the Smart League CEO. This is their vision. This is their plan. What's it like? Tell me about the league.
The Smart League, first and foremost, is the Premier League in the land. It's the biggest league and the biggest brand of alumni leagues. I want us to concur on that. If we don't concur on that, then I don't proceed.
That is it.
Now we concur. Thank you very much.
That's very inspiring, by the way.
Yes,
It's no lie. It has beaten any other league. People have come. My own school, Ngo, has come up with the league.
Yes. I
Somewhere
know.
in Shambles,
Very
King's
many-
College.
Very many
Nothing.
leagues, very many
It's
alumni.
funny how this
very
time Smart beats King's College and that. And I'll say this for a fact. There's a uniqueness with how it is like getting a job. I'll tell you this, it's easier for you to get a job when you're from King's College than any other school. I have seen this.
because of the wide, my own father.
Yeah, I know for a fact I have seen that. So it is challenging how, but maybe it's sports because rugby in my school I'm still champion of this thing. So yeah, tell me about the league. Tell me about
The league is a Premier League in the land. It was formed with the main goals of bringing together the alumni. So to create some networks, to create to have that fun, to bring back that sense of brotherhood and solidarity that we had back in school. Of course, the league has been running. We've had four successful seasons. We would have had a fifth because we had just crowned our champion in March.
Yeah.
Then the pandemic, so we had a layoff during this time, and shortly before we restart, there was general consensus that because we had the old administration team had run for 4 seasons, and I think they felt it right that we get new ideas,
New ideas.
because the ideas had taken us somewhere. They have put us at a certain pedestal, but now we want to break the ceiling. So
How do you plan on keeping this afloat?
and in that we did there was reorganization of the league. So the league now has a board of trustees, and there's a CEO who is supposed to be the head of the management team.
This is the position you're standing.
The position I'm standing.
And that is the
for.
highest position of the league.
The highest position in the league is the board of trustees.
Alright.
The board has members. The CEO reports to the board. The CEO is just the head of the management team, but the CEO reports to the board of trustees.
I don't know. I feel I'm involved in leagues, but I don't see them have the structures, board of trustees.
And that's what makes the difference. That's what makes the difference between the Smart League and other leagues. The organization.
4 seasons is how long? How long have these 4 seasons run? In this time frames, I'm speaking 5 years, 2 years.
Should be around 5 years.
5 years. It's been Smart League has been running for 5 years. That's interesting. Okay. The structures.
It's about structures, because even below the CEO there are still so many structures and subcommittees, and there's a management team that is headed by the CEO that has a COO, a CFO, PR guys, and then even below that we have the.
Where does the league get this money? Because this is all money. CFO, CEO, what, who? Where does the league get this money?
For most of these top positions, they're
Yeah.
actually unpaid positions, because we do them out of love for the league, out of that passion for the league. We have to admit that anyone who has done St. Mary's, we have that attachment to the school. And
Everyone,
of course,
yeah.
And of course,
I think everyone has the attachment to their schools.
no, not some schools really.
And that's the thing.
I feel it's for the traditional schools mainly, but most people maybe say for private
Don't you
schools.
think
I don't
we
think there's that big attachment.
are creating another system? Let's say, like you see how capitalism had brought up the Super League.
The Super League.
Don't you think we are putting people from traditional schools, and I am from a traditional school as well, so don't you think we are excluding the rest of the world, because now the league is going to have smartists, yeah, and it's right now the biggest league. It's going to have smartists. There's a less advantage for a guy who is a soccer fan, and you know how FUFA is very disorganized, and this is something everyone agrees on, so I'm not throwing shade at FUFA. But FUFA is very disorganized, so if I don't even want to call it small, these other leagues, these private leagues can include everyone, that would be a bigger chance for the country to win in things like sports. But now if we only have to consider ourselves, remember we are still also the people getting the biggest opportunities. People from Go are still meeting the guys from home, they're still in top positions, people from SMAC, like that. So don't you look at that as a disadvantage to everyone else? Or does the league look at including everyone?
I want to say the Smart League includes everyone, because we even have the concept of guest players.
Alright.
If you notice, some of the guest players come from different other schools.
Alright.
And
I didn't know that.
we have guest players. Every team is entitled to around 5 guest players, but a maximum of 2 every game day. So you can't play more than 2 at least every game day. The league, there are some teams that include females. Yes,
Yeah.
there's a team that has a female goalkeeper. Then they have the national team goalkeeper, who's a female. There's a team Mamateo, it has a female player. We encourage so many people. The Smart League is free, so many people.
Oh, the league is free. How do I join the league?
No, what I'm saying is it's free for you to come
And watch. Alright. So you still make the connection.
No, normally we have artists coming around. You would pay normally to watch Winnie Mad.
Yeah.
But you would pay in another.
What's with Smack and Winnie?
Winnie is our sister. She's an alumni of the
Are you
school.
people for me for life?
No.
Winnie is like.
Winnie is she's an outstanding artist.
That is for
She
fun.
has very good music.
How outstanding!
She's a good dancer.
Azawi is very outstanding. Why don't we have you people hype Azawi the same way? Because you see, you.
But Winnie is not the only artist who has come to the Smart League. We've had Lydia Jasmine.
Forget coming. You have hyped
We've
Winnie
had
the most.
Spice and we hype every artist who comes. We hype even John Black came. Like we hype so many people. Yes, we.
But your loyalty with Winnie is extra. Because you see, I only see hashtags of Winnie running. And yeah.
The gentlemen appreciate her music. The gentlemen appreciate her music.
You spoke with the gentleman, we'll check that.
But the league is free, so you can always come and interact with. We are not shutting out anyone from the league.
Yeah.
Anyone, you can come and watch the games, you can come and interact with everyone, you can come and take part in the networking and the creation of synergies. We don't have a problem with that. So I don't think that the Smart League per se is promoting a system of exclusion. I think smartists are some of the most hospitable people and some of the most exclusive people.
Yeah, I personally agree.
Because
I've
the
done
smart
business
league, the
with-
concept is family is allowed.
right?
We have a bouncing castle for kids. So people always come, the married guys always come with their wives. The wives can come with their friends, the friends can come with their friends. Even us, you can come with your girlfriend can come with her friends, they can join a team and support it. That's what normally happens. Because you bear me witness. The Smart League has quite a number of ladies for a single sex school. We always have a full house. So if we are promoting a system of exclusion, I think then it could be a little bit different.
Yeah, I see that. So you as the incoming
I am
CEO,
campaigning.
as someone campaigning, yeah,
Yes.
I am rooting for you. So in this case, I'm
Thank you
speaking.
very much.
What are your ideas that you feel like something new is going to happen to the league? Things you would want to share with us, and maybe people who listen in will really pick on and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go for this guy," because this episode will come out in like a week.
It will be late, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, but people still know that okay, we didn't vote for
Didn't
my
vote
guy,
for that guy, but
but
yeah.
this was his plan.
I have a 4-power plan
Yeah.
that includes advertising, organization, and restructuring, integration, and a rebuild from COVID. I'll start from
The rebuild.
the rebuild from COVID. We've had a long layoff, and we've made significant progress in terms of rebuild. As I told you, there was a change in the structure of the league, but then we need a process. How are we going to come back? How are we going to deal with the new normal? And I believe I could be one of the people to set up that direction of the league. And for integration, as the league, when we are talking about integration in the league, we have to tackle it from two places, because we have the older participating years and we have the younger participating years. From the position of the older participating years, they've created some synergies. They've created some. We've created networks, but then we need to harness these networks and make sure that we use them better through now creation of what we call a synergy. A synergy, for example, I am an engineer in, say, the Smart League, we have different years have different years.
Yeah,
So for me,
the
my
cohorts, yeah?
I have different cohorts. So my cohort is the Vikings. So if I am a Viking, I'm an engineer, but I need some marketing work. Why shouldn't I use someone in a cohort, say that was at Kisubi in 2004? As much as I wasn't even at Kisubi at that time, if it's someone who can do marketing, then we create that synergy. We use our network to build up something. I use my network to network to you, uses his network to network for me. That's something that we need to build in the league. So
Yeah,
of
that is
course,
something awesome.
yeah. So of course we hope to create a different fora. We hope to have, say, a Smart League Day where maybe say smart businesses can be able to showcase. Say at CG we can showcase, say, these are the blocks we make, this is what we make, this is our company profile, this is what we've done. Some of the guys in agro processing can come and show what we do. So at the end of the day, we know that this person does this, and of course, we also hope to have like a database where we have like certain businesses or like professionals in different fields, and then we can be able to use that. Then for the younger participating years, I want them to benefit from mentorship, because as we've already hinted, most of the old boys are now at in most institutions they are at the top levels.
Yes.
And say a lawyer can come and mentor some young guys who are at law school. An accountant, someone in finance can come and mentor them and probably tell them about a certain career path that he has seen that they could take that is not normal. And in that case, you see, we keep on building the league, we keep on having a lot of strength in the league. Because at the end of the day, if people in the league are in great positions, then we can be able to attract corporate sponsorship, we can be able to fund the league even better, we can be able to create a league that is the
And as a young man, you first of all have responsibility because you're running a startup. That is a very hard thing to do. Now you have the whole league as head of management for which this is what you hope to do. First of all, you're very young, and the league has older guys from the courts. I've started the Namiriango College Market. Something now really big. It has very many opportunities for people. People are now networking as Iranians. They're giving each other jobs and like that. But I know for a fact that bigger guys took over. They now have more say, even if I started. They now have more say, and it looks like it's now working on their ideas. Now, for you, how are you willing to really stay at the top of this? If you become CEO, then how are you willing to? Don't you think it's hard to work with old boys who are now mature enough, or what's your opinion?
Firstly, I want to say I've coached one of the older participating guys. I was their coach. They used to be same to me.
All right.
And they are back-to-back champions, by the way. They
Okay.
were back-to-back champions.
A coach in what? Soccer, rugby?
Yes,
Soccer. Oh, interesting,
I
interesting.
was a coach with the Devils, with Bernard.
Yeah, Mukasa.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was his assistant. And the old boys used to listen to me.
Interesting. All right. Yeah.
Of course, I don't think, and with that, I've had so many conversations with them. And I also intend to create a good management team that is diverse, so that we are able to communicate effectively to the older boys, to the older participating years, and to the other participating years. I don't think that will be a challenge. I believe that people are really respectable based on the experience I had, because it was a whole season with them, and actually it was the season before we are in TSL 3. I was with the Devils. Then TSL 4 I was back with the Vikings, and it was a good experience. The Devils they are one of the classes with the most trophies, because Bernard won back to back. Then he also won the cup, so I think they have 3 trophies in there for the league. But my year, the Vikings is one of the most successful when we were back in school. We reached 4 finals.
Why do you feel like you should be CEO?
We reached 4 finals and won 3 of them. Yeah.
Why do you feel like you should be CEO for the league?
I believe that I have what it takes to be a CEO. I'm running a startup, so I know what it means to run an entity, to have a team, to work with a team. Because it's actually very surprising, running the startup doesn't mean that all people that who work with me or under me are my age. Most of the Masons are older than me, but we get to do work. Actually, I don't think any of my Masons is younger than me. I don't think.
Yes.
They are all older than me. They are all in positions of responsibility in terms of having families.
And stuff like that. And you're still on top of them.
And we work together.
Yeah, working together as team leader.
And as a team leader. So I feel I have good experience to actually come into a league and actually work with that.
Interesting.
Yes.
This league, what is unique about the Smart League? You think that more people should pay attention to it? Because I personally pay attention to it because it's from a rival school, so I need to keep tabs with what are these guys up to. These guys, probably a guy could go with my girlfriend on the league.
On the league.
Yeah. So I need to just
guys are fast.
So what is unique about the Smart League? What do you think is unique?
I think everything is unique. Just the concept of the classes, them retaining the names they used to use in school, the spirit of brotherhood that is there, the solidarity, the fun, the aspect of trying to bring family into it, because you notice, like, if you come for a game day, then you will see so many young people around. The aspect of family and whatever else, the aspect of charity, because as a league we've had charity drives with Bless a Child Foundation.
I've seen the cancer.
We've had a drive for menstrual health with because what happens is every game day we have hosting classes, and the hosting classes are tasked to come up with an idea on how their hosting day is going to be different. So that's why most times we tend to have the charity first, then we end up into the fund by the artists and everything. And we were the first league to do that. Many other leagues want to copy that. So I believe that as a league, we have almost everything we do is special and different. We want to continue with that. Yeah.
So, one of the things I know about all our schools is there was some bullying in it. Uh, how does this continue the lead? Because I don't want us to skip the hard questions, the hard topics, and just go into the fancy stuff. All these traditional schools have the bullying hierarchy. So you and not so. If a one young guy from who is the smartest or who is coming to the league, and there are chances of them being bullied.
No,
And what is the league? That doesn't really, you cannot.
and I know you're familiar with the concept of culture, right?
Yes.
Now, according to culture, there are certain things that I wouldn't do. For example, first I wouldn't even disrespect my own classmate, but then I wouldn't disrespect someone who's one class above me.
And one class lower than
And one class lower than me, as much as it's a class lower than me. So we had culture imparted into our heads when we were back in school.
That's right.
So and that culture back then was a form of self-bullying. But now when people are grown and people are running things, people have their own businesses, they have their own experiences. I don't think that bullying is there per se, but the respect is still there.
Interesting.
The respect is still there, but the bullying not so much. Because at the end of the day, after a match, what happens is if we played against back when we are just doing the league and we are still very like when we were the toddlers in the league, every after game day, say if we played against a class above us, they would always try to say bye, get us some drinks after the game. You get? So wouldn't have a situation where because there was that building of camaraderie and that spirit of colleague, like these are our colleagues. So I've not had an experience of bullying. What I've had is that there's that extension of friendship. Yes, I don't think that
All right. Yeah. I don't know. As I need it because now you're coming as CEO, hopefully.
Yeah.
So these are things that should be at the back of your head, and
I don't
and
think
everything is possible, man.
because at the end of the day, we all sit down in one platter
and eat. That's interesting.
We all buy
should
some.
come for the
We all
platters
buy some crates, and then guys sit down over it. A class can buy another class crate.
So yeah. So the spirit is also
But most especially it happens when a very one of the younger classes plays really against that much older participating young. The result is that after the game, someone just gets them two crates so that they all feel so that they don't immediately go home and play. They stay, and of course on the two crates they can also get a third.
Yeah.
That table is healthy.
Now, as a young achiever, a dreamer with all these plans and ideas that are very interesting, that are very also inspiring, you should know. You're motivating to me. I see it as, how do you imagine your legacy? And how are you working to achieve it? You as a person now, besides being CEO and leads and staff and all this responsibility, what's the discipline behind Charles as the individual? And what do you think is your legacy? What do you,
If I left your wife.
No, but you could.
Or even now.
Yeah.
I just
The legacy you're building, you're constructing. How do you envision it, and what's keeping you on your toes to actually achieve this stuff?
I think I'm quite ambitious.
Yeah.
I want to run one of the biggest construction companies in East Central and Southern Africa. And I'm really passionate about sports. I'm really passionate about sports. And this is shown in my love for my clubs, like Impis Rugby Club. Of course, you've seen the TL and the Dairy United is playing.
Yes,
I'm always.
Unfortunately, yesterday you got away goals. So it looks very bad on you.
No. We won by a 4-goal margin. So I know that.
Wait, how did the game end?
6.
What?
Yes. We won by a 4-goal margin. The boys stand up in the second half. So I would really want to be. And then I'm also passionate about the aspect or the concept of what should we call it? Inclusivity, most especially for women in the construction industry. So those are things I would want to work on. I would want on setting up shop to the biggest construction industry. I would want to pay a lot of attention to sports. That's why you see me engaging a lot in the league. That's why you always see me at the MP start line. I used to support. I'm a KCCA fan.
Yeah.
It's just that now fans are not allowed in the stadiums, but I used to always go to watch the games, at least most of the home games. So those are I'm really passionate about sports, and I'm also passionate about including women into our field. Because you find most times they.
So are we looking at also having more women playing once you become CEO? More women playing in the league. Also, I forgot to ask, what's the goal of the league? Like, where's the league headed?
The league.
Yeah.
Now that is what we are trying to do. That the league wants to be the Premier League in the land. We want to do things differently.
When you say Premier League, the Premier
biggest.
League, the Premier League is biggest simply because it's most marketed.
Exactly.
Yeah, most accessible as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do. We want to market the league. We want to bring on board so many corporate sponsors. We want to ease participation for the younger years. We want to make use of our networks. We want to increase the concept of family and solidarity amongst us. And probably when people look at us, the league and how it's run, probably other people can take pick a leaf and try and improve things elsewhere.
All right, that is very interesting. Sorry, I want to take a picture of you with my phone. But yeah, on legacy, you are still saying?
Oh yeah, the legacy. I was still saying, at CG we work with quite a number of women. Our construction manager right now is a very capable woman. Yeah, careful. She does a good job. Actually, right now she's inside. She's doing the manager.
You have 20 employees for now.
We have.
According to your website, I think.
Yeah, there should be more now.
Oh, interesting.
There should be more now.
All of them, and you, facilitating literally all of them.
There should be more now. Our manager, Sayad, is also a lady. She's called Josephine. So she manages the entire manufacturing business that we do. She's when you make your order, she's the one on top of the order. So we are looking. We want to. Recently, we had an intern. We are looking. My sister is, because I encouraged her. I encouraged her to join the industry. I'm sure she's also going to make such a wonderful engineer. So I'm looking at making it so inclusive for everybody. And trying to make sure that the workspace values them and makes it really easy for them to work.
That is a good thing. Women really need to be included in a lot. And Charles, this was really one of my best conversations I've had. It is for my alumni. Like you, wish you the best of luck. Always here to support. I have all these cameras going on, so I'm trying to do a work with creatives. It's people doing stuff, doing a few arts, learning film with my team. I have a big team. It's just not here today. It's not really big. It's about 5 people, but experience, different fields. Guys that do with cameras and stuff like that. Plus, I have more stuff. So anytime we really need to do, we could actually be. We're looking into going sports, filming sports and stuff like that. And these are 4K gadgets. So if the league really needs to. Stuff like that. We can always work out a plan, Thank you for honoring this. Thank you for coming to the podcast. I would love this. Sorry, I didn't get water. You came so early, I didn't run.
No. It's really okay.
But yeah, this was interesting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.